Welcome back to Us Mint Mysteries. Today, we're diving into something truly shocking. Imagine pulling an ordinary-looking Washington quarter out of your pocket change. A coin you might think is dirty, scratched, or worthless, but in reality, it could be worth more than most houses in America. Yes, you heard that right. Some of these so-called dirty quarters are hiding secret histories, minting mistakes, and rare conditions that can launch their value into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And tonight, I'll reveal 5 of these ultra-rare Washington quarters that could change the way you look at your pocket change forever now. Let's begin with something that looks so ordinary, it almost fools you. The 1995D Washington quarter. At first glance, this coin doesn't look like treasure at all. In fact, the one we're talking about today carries a brownish tone, the kind of discoloration that comes from years of circulation. Most people would toss it aside as pocket change, maybe even think it's dirty or stained. But here's the catch: collectors see past the surface. That brownish color is simply the patina of time, and sometimes it's exactly what makes seasoned coin hunters stop and take a closer look. Now, the Denver Mint struck millions of these in 1995. So why on earth would this be special? It comes down to the little details: minting quality, die errors, and survival rates. A fine condition piece like this tells us it's been well traveled. You can see Washington's profile is worn but still visible. Dirty across the top has softened, and the eagle on the back shows smoothing on the wings. These marks are the fingerprints of history. But here's where the real excitement comes in. In higher grades, uncirculated, untouched by circulation, bright with that original mint luster, these same 1995D quarters can reach shocking heights. Picture this. A typical circulated one might only bring a few dollars at best, but step up into mint state condition, and suddenly, you're looking at prices pushing into the thousands. And if you stumble on one with a dramatic mint error like a doubled die, an off-center strike, or a rare clipped planchet, you're not just talking hundreds or thousands. We're talking collectors willing to pay into the 6 figures. Some of these error coins have shocked auction houses by climbing past $450,000 simply because of rarity and demand. Think about that for a second. A quarter worth 25 cents in your hand could secretly be hiding value greater than most cars on the road. And what makes it even more unbelievable is how many people have let these slip without realizing what they had. That brown-toned fine condition quarter might look like junk, but it could be the start of a discovery if paired with the right mint, mark, strike, or error. Collectors today prize these 1992 Washington quarters more than ever, because the modern era of coins doesn't often yield the same dramatic minting quirks. That makes coins like the 1995D incredibly sought after, especially when the condition surprises you. Uncirculated examples with sharp detail and clean surfaces, easily tens of thousands. Rare error specimens with dramatic flaws. We're staring at record-breaking numbers that could buy you a luxury home. So next time you see a dirty, brown-colored 1995D quarter sitting in your change jar, don't dismiss it. Flip it over, check the details, look closely for errors. What appears to be a forgotten coin could actually be a small fortune in disguise. And remember, this is just the beginning, because the next quarter on our list takes the idea of shocking value to an entirely new level. Next up, we have the 1979 Washington quarter, and this one carries no mint mark. Right away, that small detail makes it more mysterious. Most folks never even notice mint marks. They'll see a quarter, maybe think it's old, maybe think it's dirty, and toss it back into circulation. But in the world of coin collecting, a missing mint mark can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. The coin we're looking at today is in fine condition. Washington's portrait has that worn, well-loved look. Liberty across the top shows its age, and the eagle on the reverse has lost much of its sharp feather detail. To most people, it's just another quarter that's been around the block for decades. But here's where it gets exciting. 1979 was a strange year for American coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions without a mint mark, but in that massive production run, die varieties and small errors slipped through the cracks. Now, let's talk value. In the fine condition we're seeing here, You might expect this to only be worth face value. And yes, millions of these are out there, worn down, sitting in jars or cash registers. But climb the ladder into higher grades, and the story changes fast. In mint state condition that's untouched, brilliant, and full of luster, 1979 no mint quarters can leap into the hundreds, and then thousands of dollars. But here's the real shocker: when a dramatic error is in play, things get wild. Struck on the wrong planchet, off-center designs, or doubled dies. These are the golden tickets of coin collecting. A dramatic 1979 no mint error can push past $500,000 at auction. Yes, $500,000 for a coin most people ignore. Collectors are constantly chasing these because coins from the late 1970s hold a special nostalgia. It was a turning point in American coin history. The economy was shifting. The Susan B. Anthony dollar had just been released, and the mint was experimenting heavily with production. That means unusual strikes and mistakes slip through. Today, those mistakes are worth a fortune. And think about this: how many 1979 quarters have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Probably hundreds, maybe thousands. How many did you actually look at closely? If you had a no-mint 1979 quarter with an error sitting in a change jar right now, you could be holding a coin that collectors would fight over, a coin with a value equal to a retirement fund. The beauty of this is that even in fine condition, like the brownish, well-traveled example we're talking about today, holds interest. Because collectors sometimes pay premiums for toned, aged, or unique-looking pieces. But the real fireworks come in pristine grades. Imagine pulling one out of circulation that hasn't been worn down, still shining as if it just left the press. That could instantly transform into a 5- or 6-figure payday. So, don't let the worn look fool you. The 1979 no-mint Washington quarter may look like it's been spent 1,000 times, but in the right condition, or with the right error, it can be worth more than most people's life savings. And that's exactly why coin hunters keep their eyes peeled. But hold tight, because if you thought this was incredible, wait until you see the next coin on our list. Its value will leave you absolutely speechless. Now, here's where things start to look downright unbelievable. Take a look at this 1990 Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks awful. The entire surface has gone black. The details are hidden under layers of discoloration, and the condition? Let's be honest, it's bad. Most people wouldn't even give this coin a second glance. They'd probably toss it in a parking lot or drop it in a tip jar without a thought. But here's the secret. Sometimes, it's the ugliest coins that hide the most shocking stories. The black color on this 1990 quarter comes from decades of exposure. Maybe it sat buried in dirt. Maybe it lived in damp pockets or drawers for years. Or maybe it just picked up that unique patina that only time can create. To most people, that's damage. But to serious collectors, odd coloration can sometimes be a sign of history, and every once in a while, the black tone surface reveals something much bigger. Now, why is 1990 special? Well, millions of Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver that year. But within those massive mint runs, errors slipped through: wrong planchets, off-center strikes, and even dramatic double strikes. When those rare survivors are found in pristine and circulated condition, they can explode in value. We're talking tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. And with the right kind of error, we've even seen examples climb past $600,000 at auction. But here's the real kicker. Even a coin in bad condition like this blackened 1990 quarter can surprise you. Why? Because error. Coins don't always need to be pretty to be rare. If this coin had, say, an off-metal strike like being pressed on a dime planchet, the condition becomes less important. The rarity of the error overshadows the wear. Collectors will still line up with wallets wide open. And that's why, even the dirtiest, most beaten-up quarter deserves a close inspection. Think about it. How many people have let coins like this slip through their fingers just because they looked ugly? A black quarter in a handful of change doesn't stand out as treasure until you know what to look for. And the sad truth is, most people never even check. They spend fortunes without realizing fortunes are hiding right there in their hands. Now, Let's imagine the best case scenario. You've got a 1990 quarter in mint state, shining with original luster, no scratches, no discoloration. That coin, under the right conditions, could bring in staggering prices. Combine that with a rare minting error, and suddenly, you're not just holding a quarter, you're holding a piece of American history that collectors will battle for, with bids climbing to dizzying heights. So while this particular coin in blackened, bad condition might not break records on its own, it serves as a powerful reminder: never, ever judge a coin by its color or wear. That ugly duckling could still be the golden goose. And trust me, if you thought this black 1990 quarter was surprising, the next coin on our list takes rarity and value to a whole new extreme. You won't believe what's coming up next. Now, it's turned to the 1981D Washington quarter. At first glance, it almost looks haunting. The entire coin has taken on a dark, almost black tone. The kind of deep coloration that makes it look more like a piece of metal pulled from the bottom of a well than a coin meant for circulation. And yet, even in this full black color and fine condition, the story this quarter tells is one that collectors can't ignore. The Denver Mint produced millions of quarters in 1981, but here's the secret: not all coins are created equal. Some slipped through with unusual striking issues, doubled dies, or even off-center designs. While the majority became everyday pocket change, a tiny handful were destined to become legendary. And when those rare varieties survive into today's market, they can turn a 25-cent coin into a jaw-dropping fortune. In fine condition, like the one we're examining, Washington's profile still stands out, though it's softened by circulation. The word Liberty at the top is clear but worn, and the eagle on the reverse still shows decent feather detail. To an untrained eye, this is just a used coin, nothing more. But collectors know the black coloration can be the result of natural toning, environmental storage, or even chemical exposure. And sometimes, that unique surface patina is exactly what makes a coin stand out in a competitive auction. So, how valuable can a 1981D quarter really get? Let's start with the basics. Circulated examples like this one usually don't bring much, maybe a few dollars if someone likes the toning. But uncirculated examples, especially in pristine mint state, can climb into the thousands. Now, here's where it gets exciting. Throw in a dramatic mint error, and you've entered an entirely different world. Off-center strikes, double strikes, or a rare transition error can catapult the value well into six figures. Some of these 1981D error quarters have been valued at over $475,000, simply because collectors crave the unexpected. Think about that for a second. A coin from 1981, a year most people hardly think about when it comes to quarters, could end up being worth more than a house in today's market. And here's the kicker: thousands of these coins are still sitting undiscovered in change jars, coffee cans, and old dresser drawers across America. That's what makes hunting them so thrilling. Even the blackened example we're looking at right now should not be dismissed. Fine condition may not break records, but imagine if that black toning covered a double die obverse, or an off-metal strike. Suddenly, that ugly quarter transforms into a six-figure prize. Collectors know this, and it's why they'll study coins like this under magnification, looking for the tiniest detail that others miss. So the lesson is clear: never underestimate what's hiding behind discoloration and age. That dark, mysterious 1981D quarter you see in front of you could be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the kind of coin that changes everything with a single auction bid. And if you thought this was shocking, just wait, because the final coin on our list is so rare, so unbelievable, that its potential value makes everything we've seen so far look tame in comparison. And now, we reach the final coin in this shocking lineup, the 1968 Washington quarter. At first sight, it doesn't look like much. The surface has turned a deep brown color, worn smooth in places, and the overall condition is just fine. Nothing flashy, nothing that screams treasure. But here's where collectors know better. Sometimes, the coins that look the most ordinary are the ones hiding the most extraordinary secrets. The 1968 quarter comes with a story that's more dramatic than most people realize. This was the year after silver was completely removed from circulating quarters. For the first time, Americans were adjusting to coins made entirely from copper nickel clad, instead of the precious metal they'd known for decades. And in that transition, the mints Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco made a few mistakes that would go down in history. Now, this particular coin shows no mint mark. That tells us it came from Philadelphia, and here's why that matters. In 1968, Philadelphia wasn't supposed to put mint marks on their quarters at all. So, finding one without a mark is normal, but finding one with errors, varieties, or in pristine condition is anything but ordinary. Let's talk about value. A circulated, brown-toned, fine-condition 1968 quarter might only fetch face value at first glance. Most people would shrug and spend it without a second thought. But take that same year in mint state condition, brilliant luster untouched by circulation, and you're suddenly looking at hundreds, then thousands. Now add in a dramatic error, like a double die, an off-center strike, or a rare transitional strike, and the numbers skyrocket. Some 1968 error quarters have shocked collectors by pushing past $650,000 at major auctions. Imagine that, a quarter worth less than a candy bar becoming a fortune large enough to buy a dream home. And here's the real punch: many of these coins are still out there. How many 1968 quarters have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Probably dozens, maybe hundreds. How many did you stop and check? That brown color you see on this example isn't just dirt. It's history, it's character, and it could be covering up a minting mistake that makes it one of the rarest finds in U.S. coinage. For older collectors, especially, the 1968 quarter carries a sense of nostalgia. It marked a turning point in America's money. The silver era was over, and the clad era was beginning. Some people saved these coins thinking they'd never be worth much, but history had other plans. And that's what makes it such a thrilling hunt today, because hidden among those ordinary brown-toned coins could be the one that changes everything. So, here's the takeaway. Never underestimate what's in your pocket, in your change jar, or in that old coffee can in the garage. The 1968 Washington quarter may look rough, it may look brown and worn, but in the right condition or with the right error, it could transform into a life-changing discovery. And that wraps up our journey through 5 of the most shocking, unbelievable Washington quarters you might just have hiding in plain sight. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you're not yet subscribed to us Mint Mysteries, now's the time. Because, in the world of coin collecting, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is worth a fortune.